I want to make my response to the Frosk situation as simple as possible, because the response you are expecting has probably already been made by multiple YouTubers. I want to talk about trust online. When I listen to content creators, I want to trust them. I want to know that there is something about their character or about their content that makes me want to come back. For example, let's talk about the completionist who was sitting next to Frosk during the whole controversy. I trust his content because I've seen it for a long time. And in fact, for the first year, he did not make any money on YouTube. Years after becoming a full-time YouTuber, he expressed how difficult it was to make a show called The Completionist.
Now, I'd like to think, for the most part, that if you know me personally, and you've known me for years, that we have a very good relationship. But I can't make everyone happy. There are creators that hate my guts. There are creators who will die on the battlefield with me. I can't control what people think of me. All I can do is do me the best way that I can.
He brought up the stress that it has been giving him and how he doesn't know how long the show might last because it is very difficult to continuously complete a game on a regular basis. The reason why I respect the things he is saying is because he had a chance to gain the trust, and the way he responded to the burnout was humble and kind. I understand that the internet can be a very difficult place to work on. You get so many people that think their opinions are just as important as anyone else's, if not more. That it doesn't matter what the content creator wants, that it only matters what the consumer wants. You're never going to escape those kinds of bad apples. They're always going to appear. But I think what helps is if you try to relate to the ones that will listen. I think that's what the completionist does right, and what Frosk did incredibly wrong. I had to watch Frosk's video multiple times to get a good perspective on what was the underlying problem. The first problem comes from comparing herself to those that she is replacing from the show, Olivia Munn and Morgan Webb. She claims that the main problem is coming from sexism and how it has to do with how less attractive she is and how this is bothering the G4TV fans. Problem number one stems from comparing the bad apples to the entire bunch. In my live stream, I agreed with Frosk that the gaming community can be incredibly toxic. At the same time, I've also expressed how me and my gaming friends are toxic to each other on purpose. I have male friends and I have female friends. I will say offensive shit to them. They will say offensive shit back. That is how we joke around, and we are okay with that. So, part of the gaming community has that sort of personality. But when it comes to doing it to strangers, however, that can be a problem. You don't know who will take it seriously and who will joke back with you with the same type of humor. But the fact that this is her only comparison to the other hosts is seemingly odd. I have never seen G4TV, but I'm sure these hosts had a lot more to offer. I can't make any sort of comparisons, but I'm sure there are other comments in the comment sections that make constructive criticism that she isn't bringing up. So, problem number one, is there sexism in gaming? Of course there is, but she was casting way too big of a net and generalizing way too much of the audience. Of course there is sexism, but please point out the bad apples. Don't try to stem them all in a group. But I do think the gaming community can be improved. But we'll see later how this has little to do with how she's not a likable host in this scenario. Frosk later talks about how there are a team of writers that make a review that the hosts will read from. The hosts do contribute their opinions from the review as well. So while problem number two is not a big problem, it still plays an overall role, and that's content confusion. It's a term I've coiled where fans are seemingly upset because they don't know how a video is made. For example, prank channels will play off as a real video, get a bunch of fans riled up, but those same consumers not realizing that it's fake behind the scenes. Prank channels are hiding this on purpose to get more views. Not all of them, but some do fake their pranks. There are many channels that have scriptwriters and hosts. Easy Allies do an excellent job of making that case up front with their game reviews. G4TV and XPlay are still incredibly new and are trying to find their footing. It is confusing when you see a bunch of personalities that are known for having personalities and are reading scripts from people with entirely different personalities. The descriptions in their YouTube videos don't show any credits, so that spurs up the confusion even more. Funny enough, Gerard the Completionist has credits in his videos, so we do know who contributes where in the Completionist videos. Would some of the fans still get confused thinking that Gerard does everything himself? Of course. In fact, there are some channels that use that to their advantage, where having a channel that feels more organic, like it's done in a living room, feels like a more natural fit on the YouTube platform. For example, MKBHD, his videos consistently feel as if it's just him, but he has a large studio and he has multiple staff. I do think G4TV would benefit from having their producers and writers more well known so that we know just how embedded their team is with each video. I think it would make the team feel more organic, and it would feel like G4TV is one big happy family. I'm not saying that this problem won't get solved in the future, but it goes a little bit deeper for Frosk's main concerns. She says that when other hosts read one part of the review, that the fans are okay. But when she reads the reviews of the other half, she will get flack for it. But it's because of problem number 3 that the fans seemingly have an issue with Frosk, not building enough trust. This entire meltdown was done on a segment called Gaming Grievances, which I'm assuming is a show where you discuss your gaming grievances. This was the biggest problem, lecturing the majority of your fans on a show called Gaming Grievances, lecturing them on how the show is just fine and doesn't need to change, that G4TV isn't the problem, their content isn't the problem, the fans are the problem. You need to earn the respect of your audience. Your audience doesn't need to return the favor. It seems to me, as for someone who is lecturing their audience about needing to be more progressive, it seems like she's stuck in the past. Sure, back then, all you needed was a TV show and you could immediately gain the respect of thousands of people. Now, because of the internet, you have to do a lot more to earn the respect of the people who are watching you. I get that G4TV already has the respect of so many people, but this is essentially a reboot. You need to start from scratch. Frosk is unaware of that. Frosk thinks that she doesn't need to earn their respect, that being on G4TV grants her that. No, it does not grant her that. And no matter how many times she wants to say that it's sexism that's the problem, that is her just ignoring the main issue. Is sexism a problem in the gaming industry? Yes, it is. If you don't believe me, check out the live stream I did where I read about Activision Studios. But is that what is going on with her and the G4TV community? I don't think so. I mentioned already how the completionist had to earn the respect of his audience, but here's another example. When the Game Grumps lost JonTron, they had to replace the host with someone known as Dan Avidan, aka half of Ninja Sex Party, a band that seemingly not many people knew about. Game Grumps had to make a lot of ground for the loss of such a likable host. It took a long time and effort, but it's now to the point where if Dan Avidan left, that would cause a big burden to the Game Grumps brand, where that wouldn't have been said 8 years ago. Imagine if Game Grumps took a different approach with Dan being the new host. Imagine if Aaron got mad saying that Dan is the new host of Game Grumps, deal with it. Is he allowed to say that? Yes. Is that a justified response? Yes. But would that lose the trust of many of their fans? Yes. Fans are allowed to be proven wrong. I, as a fan of Game Grumps, did not originally like Dan Avidan, but when I gave him a chance and when he was able to find his footing, I trusted him. I then enjoyed the content the same way as I enjoyed it when John was a host. Things take time to change, but when you lecture your audience about how there needs to be change, how their content is good, doesn't need to be changed, and how it's the fans that need to change, that is where you have a disconnect. And that is where so many fans that you could have gained seemingly become lost. So overall, what do I think of the whole situation? Well, I think Frosk was put in a position where she is responsible for an entire crew. Naturally, when you're a leader, you want to defend your crew, and that's okay. I think she went about it entirely wrong. Problem one was comparing the bad people to her actual fans and making these seemingly minute comparisons to the original host of G4TV, X-Play, Attack of the Show, etc., saying that it's because she's less attractive. Like, if she's going to make comparisons with her and previous hosts, she might as well have gone a little bit deeper, talking about her background in gaming, talking about how she is a great host and how she's this, and this. But instead, she just basically said sexism, attractiveness, and didn't really divulge it any more than that. As a content creator, you want to sympathize with your best fans as much as possible. The ones that will buy your merch, like, comment, subscribe, and will show up to all of the live events. Is that incredibly difficult? Yes, it is. But that comes with the territory. Problem number two comes from content confusion. Some of the fans do not realize that the reviews require a big team to get a lot done at once. The host will sometimes chime in with their opinions. It seems to be a formula that the fans are not used to. I'm sure with some time and a few tweaks, the team will find their footing. The problem was still minute, but something I thought I should mention regardless. Finally, the last problem is the trust. I don't think there's anything wrong with having expectations of your fans and scolding them when they do something wrong. But here, I didn't see the fans doing something wrong. What I saw was a minority of bad apples trying to harass the host. And while I think that is wrong, Frosk took it to an 11, bringing up problems that are mostly not going on. I'm sure there are fans that wish the host was, quote, sexier, but is it a big enough problem to make an entire segment of gaming grievances? I don't think so. So overall, I think this was a shot in the foot. Frosk should be thankful, though, that it was a handgun and not a shotgun. G4TV can still recover from this. I see a lot of videos trying to get mad about the situation, and sure, while they're allowed to get mad, I'm not in that camp. But I want G4TV to be aware of where they went wrong, and hopefully earn some of the fans back. I want to see more companies succeed on YouTube and Twitch, not less.